How many of you have social media? That can be like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. There's a plethora of kind of things you could have, that kind of social media. So now let me ask you, how many of you personally, or maybe you know someone that has struggled with their mental health within the past few years? Time and time again, social media is now being recognized as one of the many reasons mental health is kind of increasing or deteriorating, however you want to view it, in our society today. Now, the whole concept I want to get across is, the effects it's having on your brain, and then your ability to recognize it in someone else and help them. So now, before I go into what actually is going on in your brain, let's talk about why you're so attached to something that's so bad for you, right? So a study done by Lawrence Robinson and Marissa Smith, these are two writers for an organization called Help Guide International. They discuss the idea of boredom and convenience, right? We're in an age now where it's so easy to just take out your phone and start scrolling through social media. And we as humans, now especially, always crave something for us to do. We want to be entertained. We don't want to be just sitting looking at the wall. We want something to do. And so social media, in our eyes, is kind of like the best option here. Something else to recognize is the actual developers of these social media platforms. So their whole job is to design an algorithm that knows your likes and your dislikes. It's able to, look through all the posts that you like, and then within the next few, I wouldn't even say days, the next few hours, it's able to push more photos into your feed on what you like. So for example, if you're scrolling through and you like a bunch of pictures of dogs, then within the next few hours, the algorithm recognizes, your interest, and it pushes more of that interest in your face in order to get you to stay on. Something social media developers also do is try to fulfill a psychological need of reward. It's something that keeps you on their platform. It's something that keeps you alive and active. It keeps you coming back. By reward, I mean the amount of likes you're getting, the amount of followers you're getting, right? How many people retweeted you here? It's a sense of like, oh man, I need to keep coming back because I'm getting this reward. So now that we understand kind of why we're being so drawn to it, we can talk about the actual impacts it's having on your brain. A psychologist named Jacqueline Spelling and Harvard Medical School, actually, they both kind of pushed or publicized their ideas on the effects social media is having. They both described it leading to an increased risk of depression. It's leading to a higher case of low self-esteem. It's creating this concept called FOMO, which stands for fear of missing out. And if that kind of starts to ring a bell or makes you think of like, man, I kind of am experiencing that too. I mean, that's what's the common occurrence in most cases now that deal with, social media and mental health. You're sitting here, maybe not willingly knowing, but subconsciously, you're comparing your life to someone else's. You're looking at their post of this party. You're like, man, I wish I was at this party. You're seeing them at this beach with this car. You're like, I wish I had this lifestyle. You see someone that, you view as objectively more attractive than you. You're like, I wish I was as pretty as her. I wish I was as muscular as them, right? You're creating already like this kind of beating mentality on yourself. You're beating yourself down every single time you start to do that. I'm not good enough. You're creating this idea of I'm not good enough, and that's hurting you. That's hurting others. 69% of adults and 81% of teenagers have social media, and that's not even taking into account kind of the biggest issue here: children in elementary school. So that's like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. They're getting access to social media. These issues that are developing in teenagers and adults' brains are now being introduced and developed in children's brains. That's one of the biggest issues here, that children in elementary school are now already developing the idea of I'm not good enough. They might not recognize it now, but it's growing in their mind like a tumor, and it's gonna get worse as time goes on if we allow it. With that being said, children and us are being manipulated and lied to. Something that has kind of came into light recently was kind of social media influencers buying fake sets. Now, there was a blogger called Miranda Leach, that's her name. She is with a company called Honey Travel, and she kind of helped bring into light social media influencers buying fake sets so that they can pose in them and post online to make their life seem great. Now, maybe you didn't know that, maybe you did recognize that, but everyone of all ages are now being lied to and manipulated by people that they look up to. You know, they're seeing this grand lifestyle and they're picturing, why can't I have that? That's already going through their minds. And that's one of the main concerns with growing social media. You know, the whole idea is that you're beating yourself up. And then when you see, you know, someone that you look up to lying to your face and manipulating you to make it seem like they have the perfect life, what good can come from that? Now, granted, there was kind of a local survey done that, was conducted with peers our age that discussed the beauty of social media. Something that was discussed was the ability to communicate, the ability to connect. Let's say you have a friend that after high school, he moved to Texas, right? And, it's like, oh, I'm in Indiana. The ability of social media is for you guys to stay in contact and to keep up within each other's lives. Something else that was talked about was the ability to express your creativity. TikTok and Instagram and all those other things, they're a great source for you to project kind of who you are on the inside. You can project your creativity. And, both those things are great and everything, and it is beneficial, but you have to think about how the bad is outweighing the good over here. Are we willing to take this risk for so long? What's the kind of reward? There's a higher risk and a higher chance of so many bad things happening. Is it worth these little things over here? There's no reason for you to be getting hurt anymore. There's no reason for your little brother, for your little neighbor down the street that you babysit. There's no reason for anyone to be getting hurt anymore. Now that we understand what it's doing to our brains and we understand why we're so attached to it, we can now reach out to people that we see are being affected by it. We can reach out and just talk to them and help them understand, just as you understand what's happening. You can help yourself, you can help others. There's no reason for people to be getting hurt anymore. There's no reason for it. Now is the time to do something about it. Now is the time to go to the friend, go to the sibling. Just ask yourself, are you okay? Have I been affected by social media in these different ways? You can do all these things, but the question I'm going to leave with you today is, will you help them?